Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today's video is, as promised, my Canva favorites video. I'm going to be showing you all of my favorite items as well as their collection names, their set names, and I'll be showing you how I've used them in spreads so far, even though I'm sure you've probably seen if you've watched any of my journaling videos. But there's nothing much else to say, so let's just get started. My first category is stars. I use a lot of different stars. My favorite being, of course, this hot pink glittery star. I love the color of it. I love that it has almost kind of like a little shadow. It just looks really good in pretty much every single spread that I could want to make. I feel like it matches well with everything. Next is kind of a gaudy gold star. I say gaudy because this color of gold is like a little bit too bright for my tastes, but again, it does have kind of that like realistic scrapbook feel, which is what I'm always going for in my spreads. And next we have this kind of twinkle star, like a Peter Pan star, I guess you could call it. I don't use it that much, but I really prefer this kind of gold. And also I like that it's not a typical 5-pointed star. So the next star, it actually has kind of a few variants, even though they all look the same. It's this pink glittery star. It's not, I'm not even sure what kind of pink you would call this, like a very like medium kind of cooler pink. There are different variants of it, but you kind of can't tell. They all look pretty much the same. Like I don't really think you can tell one apart from the other. The next star is interesting because it's kind of at an odd angle. I will say if you're like me and you like your spreads to look more realistic, it's not going to look like it's been laying flat, if that makes sense, because of the angle of the star, but I do really like it. I like the gold color. I really like it for more vintage inspired spreads. I think it looks really good with those. And I just wanted to show you the whole collection it's from because there are several different items that I really like within it as well, especially those vinyl records. I feel like I've used those before. Definitely used the graduation diploma in my movie journal for my Booksmart spread. Our final, more realistic looking star is this very odd colored gold one. I don't use this a lot. Again, it looks best in vintage inspired spreads, I think, but I do really like it because it has this kind of almost cardboardy look to it, and I'm going to show you the collection that it's from more later because there's a bunch of items that I like from it actually. Now we can move on to stars that don't have any sort of realism to them. They're either like vectors or something like that, doodles. So this first one is the one that I use all the time in my spreads whenever I want to add a rating, so whether that be a book or a movie. I don't know what it is about this star specifically, but I really like it. Next, I have this little star and moon pattern, which I think is really cute. I like to use this over like photos or book covers, things like that. I usually make it white and then lower the transparency so that it kind of looks like maybe you've drawn on it with a gel pen, like a white gel pen or something. Very similar. I also love this mix of stars. This is very doodly and it comes in this pink color. Sometimes I'll change the color to white. I've done that before, but a lot of times I'll leave it in this pink color because it matches a lot of my spreads already. So I love this one. I use it a lot. And last in the category, we have these really gorgeous gradient stars. I usually lower the transparency on them as well whenever I'm putting them in a spread, but I think it just adds this like really pretty soft look. And there are so many different kinds. There aren't just stars, there are also hearts, of course. I love them. I think they're gorgeous and really versatile. My next category is what I'm calling space fillers. I use these whenever I see like a blank space that just looks like it needs to be filled. Starting off with this heart gem, I love it. Again, it's kind of like a very deep fuchsia pink color, but I think it matches with a lot of my color palettes. This collection has so many different sorts of gems. They're all really cute. I've used a couple of them before, like the green ones, but I haven't really used that many, but I love the little bears. They look like little gummy bears. I definitely see people putting gems and rhinestones like that on spreads in real life, so I think it still looks realistic to me. I also love this white diamond, I guess it is. I usually size it down really, really small because I think that looks the most realistic and I think it makes a really good accent along with the heart. I usually put those together. Next is a sparkly glittery pink heart. I really, really like this color of pink actually. I feel like that's why I end up using this more. It's a lighter pink and so I feel like it goes with more. And again, I really like that kind of like flat, realistic, glittery look to it. And then there is this pink sequin. It's kind of like an iridescent sequin. I feel like this looks really good small as well, so I tend to size it down. My favorite usage of it would have to be in this CIX spread that I made, but I think in general it works for just like a little tiny pop of color. Next we have these kind of like, I guess they're technically called frames, but to me they look more like pieces of tape that have been taped together, but I guess they're actually technically ripped paper. I really like using them anytime that I need to fill up a space, but I don't really want there to be color. I think these are a really good usage for that. So our final item for this category is this really cute pink paper clip. I love to use it when I'm using like a memo sheet or something like that. I'll kind of just put it on the side so it looks like it's paper clips in there. It doesn't look super realistic, but I think it looks close enough. But I do see people using paper clips in their journals like this, so I guess it's not too out of the ordinary, but I love the color of it. I think it's like a true hot pink. Our next category is tapes. My absolute favorite tapes. I use them, I would say, probably in every single spread. I cannot get enough of this clear tape. Sometimes I use it and you can't even really see it that much. Typically what I do is I will double up on it, so when I'll figure out where I want to put it, and then I'll duplicate it and then layer it right on top of it, because it helps it look a little bit more opaque and it helps you be able to see it more. But I'll use it even if you can't see the tape. I honestly feel like I cannot make a spread without these clear tapes. Next are kind of like checkered, I guess you would call it, like checkered washi tapes. These have kind of more of a paper texture on the edges, which I really like. I don't use these too much, but I do really like to use them around the sides of spreads. Sometimes if I just need like a pop of color in an area, I feel like these look really good. It kind of seems like, you know, you've just torn off a piece of washi tape and then like cut the edge off. And I also really love how many colors that this item comes in. I feel like there's definitely a nice color palette going on. So those are really, really useful. Next is this checkered, again, black tape. I don't super duper love the color of this. I kind of wish it was like white and black maybe. The gray and black is a little but sometimes I do really want something darker, especially in my more like scrapbook like spreads or my more vintage looking spreads. I feel like black sometimes looks better. So I do like this. I like the pattern of it a lot. I really like checkered washi tape in general. And what I also love about this is that there are a bunch of different shapes of it, so that's really nice, because sometimes, like, I don't know, sometimes a tape shape just won't look correct, so I really appreciate when items are in various sizes like that. And the last thing in this category is an iridescent tape. Again, I don't use this a lot, but I do find that I have uses for it. I think it is kind of similar to the sequin. It's got that iridescent look to it, and so whenever I have a color palette that kind of has like pinks in it, I think that this looks nice. It doesn't look like too gaudy or too flashy, I guess. Our next category is called paper cutouts. It's exactly what it says. First up are these cute headphones. I love them. They truly look like they've been cut out of a magazine. I like that they're like black headphones, but they almost kind of have a bluish like tone to them. I don't know. Even like the backing of them, it kind of looks purpley as opposed to like white or something like that. I think that these blend in really well. I love to use them in music spreads, but honestly, they look cute in pretty much any spread that I feel like I could make. Next are these shapes. I really, really love these. There's a bunch of different ones in this collection, but I pretty much almost use the pink like curly Q and the purple heart the most, I would say. But I really, really, really enjoy this collection. The texture on them, it almost looks like construction paper. I love also the shadows that are on them. It really, really stands out well. And I feel like there are so many different color options within these items that no matter like what your aesthetic is, you can definitely find something that matches. The next item is this cute swan I love. I don't know why it fits in so well with my spreads, but I guess it's similar to the headphones, that there's just a lot of blue. Next is this weathered looking cutout of the Statue of David. I like that it looks like old paper. It really adds a nice texture. I usually use this in my vintage inspired spreads, but if you like light or dark academia aesthetics, this whole collection would be really perfect for you. Our next category is alphabets and numbers, specifically elements that look like they're magazine or paper cutouts. Starting with my favorite collection, I like this one so much because instead of an alphabet, there are already captions spelled out. It makes adding the date to my spread so much easier. So there are all 12 months, plus the days of the week, plus things you'd find in a planner like goals, or there's even one that says meal plan. I also love how all the numbers are slightly different fonts. It adds a nice variety. Next is a collection of numbers that I really like because of the bright colors. I usually just make them black and white if the colors don't match what I want though. I feel like that's kind of the more neutral option. I also like the phrases that look like they've been cut out of a magazine. You can't make a sentence or anything out of them, but they're still cute. The next collection has some letters I don't like the look of, mostly because a lot of the colors don't blend well with my personal color palettes, but I feel like it has my favorite range of fonts. Like there's a lot of cute letters as well. I also like the punctuation marks. I just wish that there were numbers. Our final alphabet is the one that looks the most like ransom note letters. They're not super colorful. Honestly, I wondered if these cutout letters were kind of out of trend lately, but then I saw Sulgi's new YouTube channel and her intro card looks like it has that kind of like scrapbooky aesthetic, so if Sulgi likes it, it must be cool, right? Also, these are in an official collection, so it's really annoying trying to find the letters because this creator also offers Canva Pro elements, so they're all mixed together. It's very annoying, but what can you do? The next category is Y2K stickers, basically just glitter stickers. There are 3 different collections that I really like, though the first one definitely has the most nostalgic vibe to me and probably has my favorite items overall. These are really nice accent stickers, especially if you need something vibrant, but also the plain options like the hearts and like there's some stars, they can match well with anything too. The next category is paper. I mostly use paper I found on Pinterest, but Canva has one of my most used items, which is this white page that looks like it's been ripped out of a notebook. I quite literally have to stop myself from using it in every single spread. I love the jagged edge, like it's been ripped in half. This creator has so many options to choose from. My other favorite from them is that pale pink paper that looks like it's been drawn on with a red marker. Next is this folded piece of grid paper. I love that the grid lines are green. I usually just stick this on the edge of my spreads or behind larger items, but the way it's crumpled up really does add a lot of visual interest. And also, I'd never looked through this collection before actually, but I found a lot of other items I like, so I'll definitely be using some of them in the future. The final collection I want to show you is a vintage inspired one. I absolutely love this brown checkered paper and this painting that looks like it's been torn. I've used both before in the past and I think they look good, even with non-vintage items. I never really think of brown as a neutral when I'm making spreads. I don't know why, but it's definitely softer than black or even like navy blue. Maybe, you know what? Maybe it's similar to how I pick out clothes in real life. I don't know, but I don't tend to go towards brown in real life either, so maybe it has something to do with that. I also wanted to show you what I usually do, which is I use the paper frames Canva offers. There are so many options to choose from. Some have a border with a shadow, which makes it look like a thicker sheet of paper that's been torn, and some of them are just jagged edges. All of them are really good options. I just take a wallpaper I found on Pinterest and try out different frames to see what I like best for whichever spread I'm making. Our next to last category is miscellaneous because I didn't feel like they fit in anywhere else. Starting with this cute vintage ticket, I use it all the time, and actually I make a point to put it in every single movie journal spread I make. It's not even a theater ticket. It looks more like the kind you get at the fair, but in my head it's definitely a movie ticket. My favorite thing about it is that you can actually change the colors. I really like the original colors, but it's so nice to be able to modify them. Usually I just make the original colors a little lighter whenever I do change them, but technically I can make the ticket look completely different. Next is a bus ticket or a train ticket. I don't actually know. I'm sure there's someone watching from England right now who's yelling the correct answer at me. I just really like the overall aesthetic of it. The colors are nice, but it's so hard to find. Oh my goodness. Making this video made me realize how many creators don't organize their elements into collections at all. But like, this item doesn't even have any tags. It doesn't even have a name. It literally just says untitled. It's quite literally impossible to find, so definitely make sure you star this so you don't lose it again. Next are these Polaroids. I honestly don't use them much, but they definitely have that scan look I love. If you make any spreads using your own photos, these would look so cute. I think when my garden is flourishing later this year, hopefully when it's flourishing, I'll make a spread with these to document their growing process, like all my flowers' growing process. Oh, and they would also be perfect for spreads with your favorite celebrities or idols. The last thing in this category is this dainty little red bow. I could have put this in space fillers, but I just don't use it that often, probably because it's red, I guess. I see bows and ribbons on Pinterest all the time, but this one looks specifically like it's tiny, like something you'd find for scrapbooking. This collection has a lot of interesting scanned items. I use the line paper sometimes, but it definitely has a lot of like just interesting things. Like one of these things looks like a paper plate. Like, what even is that? Our last category is pressed flowers. There are so many beautifully scanned flowers and leaves to choose from. You could probably scroll forever, but these are all my favorites. Unfortunately, they all have the same exact item name and tag, so you can't search for them individually. Definitely star your favorites so you don't lose them. They look really pretty in all kinds of spreads, and I love using a little piece of tape over the ones that have stems to make it look like they're taped into my journal. The last collection has some really nice vintage items. These roses look like they've been pressed and then like someone took a photo of them and then scanned that photo. Maybe it wasn't that elaborate of a process, but they definitely have like that magazine cutout look. My favorite spread with these is, of course, my Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes spread, Coriolanus Snow and all of his roses, you know. I used some of these other items from the collection in that spread as well, and I think they're so pretty. And that's it! For the last segment of the video, I thought I'd make a journal spread trying to use as many of my favorite items as possible. I wanted to make the spread look like how people journal in weekly planners. I definitely like the idea, but I feel like I shouldn't have done it. I just split the pages with the line tool Canva has, then lowered the transparency, but I think I should have tried finding an already made planner. I was also trying to use a minimal amount of non-Canva items, and because of that, I didn't add a background. It looked so strange to me, so I actually ended up changing it after I was done editing this part of the video. I didn't screen record me changing it and doing all the little fixes that I wanted, but I do show them to you at the end, like I show you how the full spread looks. I was thinking of making another calendar like how I did for February, if you saw that in one of my other journaling videos, but I thought that something like this would showcase more items. I also used some Hee Hee Club stickers I saw on Twitter. I'm going to have to find them again so I can pin them for you. I'm not sure of the artist of that cute little dog with the cherry on its head, but the girl in the bottom left corner is by Sunan Bird. Is that how you say that? That's how I always pronounce it in my head. Watch it be something completely different. Everything will be in my Pinterest board, as always, except for the artwork in the top left. That's by one of my favorite authors, and I just found it on their Twitter. It's just the two of the characters from one of my favorite BL manhwas. My vision for this spread is that I wanted to split it into sections for music I've been listening to, movies I want to watch in March, and also a space to talk about my birthday. I honestly never have a good time on my birthday or the days leading up to it. I don't have a problem with aging, but I think being confronted with the pressure to celebrate amplifies all the things I dislike about my life. I wanted to spell birthday girl with the cutout letters, but it was just not looking how I wanted it to, so I eventually just scrapped it all, which is okay because I had more room to write then. Also, I don't know how many people who watch my videos are into K-pop, but I'm pretty sure the percentage of people who are also in Citizens is probably small. If you happen to be watching this, then I'm sure you recognize Shohei. For the other 99% of you who are out of the loop, it's a long story, but Shohei is, or was, an SM rookie. He was preparing to debut with NCT, but got hurt last year, and then he went back to Japan to rest, and then like 1 month later, SM Entertainment imploded, so all the plans for NCT went out the window. There just hasn't been any news about him, and it fills me with so much dread. I just want him to be okay above all else, but also I will literally support him doing anything. Singing, rapping, DJing, producing, even just being an Instagram influencer. Like if Shohei wants to be a YouTuber, like I'm here to support him. So anyway, I used a frame to turn his photo into a heart and then added one of those paper frames. They look cute like this too. I'll probably still just use them as space fillers, but they do look cute with their intended usage. Is that what I want to say? With their intended usage, as their intended, I don't know. After I did all the writing for the spread, I decided to go back and change a couple things because I was already regretting not filling up the space all the way. It just looked so weird. I added some more stickers so it wouldn't look so empty, and I also added a sheet of paper to the background and lowered the transparency to give it some texture. But like I said, I changed this later on. I added some of my favorite stars and sparkles, of course, and then I'm going around and highlighting. Normally I do this on Sketchbook because it's just a lot easier, but all you have to do on Canva is go to shapes and select a square. Then you can fit it to whatever you want to highlight. Just pick the color you want to use and lower the transparency, and that's it. It's pretty easy on Canva too, but I guess it's just easier to, use my Apple Pencil and draw. I also wanted to circle some words, so I searched oval and found this. It's exactly what I wanted. It looks like a pen scribble, and I just changed the colors. Like, that's exactly what I wanted. Adding the spread inside my journal was kind of my last straw. Like, I knew I needed to fix the spread ASAP. But I still wanted to show you some close-ups, of course. And this is how the spread turned out after I fixed it. It's not the best repair work, but it looks a lot better. I added a background and filled in some of the extra space, as you can see, with a few more stickers. So these are my favorite Canva elements. That's the end of today's video. I tried my best to organize this in a way that made sense, so I really hope it was helpful. If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.